Thank you. And who do you play?
Just kidding. Well, I don't have the thing, right? I play Luke Roman on Surreal Estate, guys, obviously.
So I think we're starting with
Yeah. So when you're filming the Audible, do you have the beard?
Well, I did. I was filming something when I did the Audible, so I actually did have a beard when I did the Audible. Yeah.
Did it help just for you to stay in character with that versus like clean shaven, or what was your process to get into character for just?
Well, I'll tell you what helped the most to get into character. Melanie Scrofano was in the room with me, so that helped. Just working with actual Wynonna when you're doing the scenes, I highly recommend. Gets you into character pretty quick.
So, as playing Doc Holliday, as we've gone around with the other people, Doc Holliday is such an iconic character. What do you feel that you try to bring to the character that hasn't been done before?
Well, I mean, you know,
besides being demon possessed.
Yeah, like which part do you want? The curse from the witch, the vampirism, the multiple deaths. You know, some of those things. I tried to bring a vulnerability to Doc in some of the moments where he was more vulnerable that I thought I could lean into, and I was in a lucky enough show that we could actually play that stuff and like a sci-fi demon killing stuff. But you know, Wynonna and Doc have some pretty heavy scenes from sometimes about their daughter, about their feelings for each other, about all kinds of ways not to express love, and we get to lean into all that stuff. So I like bringing all that stuff in there.
What was it like having this Audible space where you guys kind of shared this like narration of the story? How do you feel like that was just kind of like maybe, how do you feel about that creative decision basically that you guys were kind of like sharing the narration of this?
Well, I loved it. I'm super lucky because my experience was a little different than everybody else's because I wrote the episode that I pretty much did. I ended up doing 2 episodes, but the biggest one, the one with the gambler on the train and everything, I got to co-write that. So one experience that was, you know, I was definitely more scared for that than having to go in and act it because I've done that before. And I'm lucky I got to write with Bo Smith, the comic book writer and creator of the Wynonna Earp comic books. I've written many books with him now, so I felt confident in my storytelling ability. But this was a whole other thing, you know, and it's also a different style of writing for Audible because you need to explain to the audience what's happening without telling them directly over the head what's happening because nobody wants to hear, we're running on top of a train. You know what I mean? Like, but we need to let the audience know we're running on top of a train. There's a demon chasing us. So it was a very interesting way of writing. But it was great. I worked alongside Emily's husband, Brendan. I call him Bongo, so you should definitely put in print Bongo. You know, I had him and Emily Andrus as a safety net, you know, reading everything and going over everything. So it was really fun. And then I got to see Melanie say my lines. You know, it was like a once in a lifetime experience. It was very cool.
So going off the episode that you wrote, is that a story that you kind of had in mind for a long time, or was it something that developed once you learned that this opportunity was going to happen? Yeah,
I always wanted to do something on a train. Like, we need a big train fight thing, you know. And Emily would be like, the budget. This is Wynonna Earp. We can't even get Pop-Tarts on the craft table, and you want a train? You know what I mean? Like, it's not happening. And then this came along, and then she was gracious enough, you know, to call me and say, would you be interested in maybe co-writing one of the things? I'm bringing in some people. And I was like, you're thinking of me? This is amazing. So yeah, I wanted to try and bring in something action-packed that we wouldn't be able to film budget-wise. That was my main thing, because that's my favorite thing about comics. It's like, there's no budget. I can literally say the six, the 6 of us went to space right now, beat up 20 aliens and came back here. If they can draw that, we can do it. You know, it's expensive to shoot that though. So train fight, going back in time, splitting between the two. I just wanted action packed.
How was your experience coming back with the cast and working together, like recording as turning as your characters as well as writing out the episodes?
It's just a gift. I mean, now we have done the Wynonna Earp Vengeance, the movie. But when this came along, this was the first time I heard, "Hey, would you like to do more Wynonna Earp? Would you like to be Doc Holliday again?" That's a great phone call to get. You know, I mean, I was very happy and excited. I was like, "Yeah, in what capacity, whatever you need." And then, would you like to write it? I was like, "What's happening? This is awesome." um, and you get to be with your best friends again. Like we're a really tight group. We all love our show, our characters. So yeah, they all know. Call me anytime for this character, and I'll show up. I'll be there in whatever capacity they need me to be. It's just the best phone call you can get. Yeah.
So, how many episodes have you done for Audible so far? And is the season?
Well, there's five. I believe five total. I did two. I did two that I narrated, and I got to write one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 5 is the season.
I'm not the best to understand exactly how.
Yeah.
I believe Our Tales of Purgatory is a 5 story arc, and it's great because we go before where you were in the movie, in the show. We go after where you were in the show. We kind of jump along, and we try and plug some holes that maybe we left within the 4 seasons.
Because it's the whole mythology that comes along. That's what draws me.
Yeah. Well, you get all that. You get all that in Tales of Purgatory probably better than even the show. Yeah. I know the hardcore Earpers really like this because you get some of the lore and some of the questions answered that maybe you didn't have answered before. It's all in there.
So you've written some of the Wynonna Earp comics.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a different method that you used using writing the comics and then writing your episodes?
Yeah, same thing. Well, I'm lucky I got to co-write both, so I always kind of had a mentor. Mm-hmm. But, with comic books, you learn to trust the artist because you can't have a page full of bubbles of literally dialogue. So you want to say less is more with especially talking and trust what you are trying to incorporate. The artist is going to be able to do it in a way in a panel that will tell the story you want. And then for Audible, it's different because the challenge is you need to explain to the audience what's happening without explaining it too much because it's just not interesting if we're just telling you what's happening. So it was a really interesting way to do both. Were tricky. Yeah.
Obviously, it sounds like you guys are all close, and I'm sure that's a big part of why you guys keep coming back to the sandbox. Right?
Yeah.
I'm curious for you and the character of Doc, what do you feel keeps bringing you back to that character specifically, and why?
I mean, guys, I get to play Doc Holliday. Right there, you got me. But then I get to play Doc Holliday on Wynonna Earp, so he's then also a man out of time, and he's a man who's been cursed for 180 years, and he's been a vampire. Now he's a dad, and he's in love with a woman who doesn't love him back, but maybe she does. It's very fun as an actor just to get to play any character is fun, but like a real character. Like an actual, I get to play dress up guys and run around with fake pistols. You know what I mean? And like,
fake?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
It's awesome. You know what I mean? It's like it's literally the dream come true. That's why I got into being an actor. To be honest, if I can't have fun playing undead space cowboys, then there's no hope for me. Yeah.
Were there any ideas that either from the episode that you wrote or in general that you're aware of that got cut?
Yeah. Yeah, there was. Well, because as the Audible thing was happening, then I started hearing about the Vengeance, Wynonna Earp Vengeance. So I don't know if you guys have watched Vengeance or not, but something happens to my character at the end of Vengeance. I had that in my brain while writing the Audible. So I might have been a little more dramatic in some of my Doc and Wynonna scenes in the Audible, that they were like, it's great, but we need to cut it back a bit because you're trying to tell a different story. And I'm like, you're right. You're 100% right. I'm just trying to get as much Doc time as I can here. And it was great to have those guys because story-wise, it's true. It wasn't the place to kind of stick some of those things in. But I was definitely tried to here or there. Some of it made it. Some of it didn't. But yeah.
besides your co-stars, what was it like getting to work with the crew again, like Emily and each and every from the audio series? What was that experience like working together on this?
Well, it was great. I mean, this one was super different. I got to say, it was really enjoyable. Audible was amazing, and they made the experience just really fun. It was a really fun experience. Like you just, and I was lucky. Like I was doing something else. Probably the biggest feature I've ever done in my life. Like I was on a big movie that's coming out in 2025 that I can't talk about, but it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing.
Tell us the title?
No, but it's mind blowing. No, my mind blown that I'm a part of it. Let me just say, another childhood dream has been checked off. But
Limitation with your IMDb.
but you know, I was on, and that schedule changed. So then maybe I wasn't going to be able to go do the Audible at one point, and then they made everything work. Audible was amazing, and then the experience of actually doing it was super fun, and that's all on Audible. I mean, they're not new to this, so you know what I mean. You just got to put trust in what they're doing, but they made it really fun and enjoyable, and actually, they jumped through some hoops for me, and I'm in debt. So whatever Audible needs from me, they'll get. That's for sure.
My turn. So I know Melanie said that, you know, not doing this in a booth was much like some animated movies, I guess, do it that way.
Yeah.
It's much better to be with you in person, you know, to act stuff out as you're. So were you all there?
Well, everybody else was, but like I said, because of kind of what happened on the production I was doing and the schedule getting moved around, I couldn't be there anymore for the big group where everybody was together. But Mel was gracious enough to give up her Saturday, and so was Audible, and come and do it with me on a Saturday. We ended up doing it all in one day, and it was Mel and I together, which made it awesome. I just don't think it would have been the same experience. It was me by myself in a room.
Yeah.
You know, when Mel's there, it's great. It's just acting. I just look over and there's Wynonna. So we just work off each other.
Favorite moment playing Doc Holliday?
So many. Oh my goodness. It's just so many. I always look at it as like the arc that I've given. I think Doc had the best arc of any character on the show, to be honest. Oh, sorry. I thought you were Emily Andrews for a second. I was like, I'm out of trouble talking about the arc of my characters. Oh, yeah. I actually think as a Doc Holliday's arc, from where he went over the 4 seasons, I got to play good. I got to play evil. I got to play a vampire. I got to play undead. I got to play man at a time. I got to play the lover. I got to play the gunfighter. I got so many things to do. Yeah, and I still want to do Wynonna and Doc as parents dealing with a preteen. I think that's where we go next. You know what I mean? I need to see that. Let's get Alice back, guys. You know what I mean?
Take a picture.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure,
I
guys.
think there's something about you got to go to a panel or something. I'll use this to promote your secret movie later.
Secret movie.
Thank you.